Ken Krajsa's dedication to the Home Builders Association of Fargo-Moorhead is second to none. He is in the upper echelon of service and commitment to his industry, career, and association. That is why tonight we honor him with the Cornerstone Award for Lifetime Achievement. Currently Senior Vice President of Construction Lending at Bell State Bank and Trust, Ken has been involved with the HBA of FM for over 30 years and has served on the local, state, and national boards for nearly 20 years. Ken is a life director with the National Association of Home Builders and an Associate National Director for the North Dakota Association of Builders. He was Associate of the Year for the HBA of FM and NDAB in 1994 and in 2004. He went on to receive the National Association of Home Builders Bill Poley Build Pack Award and to be inducted into the Society of Honored Associates in 2006. The Bill Poley Build Pack Award was established in 2000 to recognize the most outstanding associate member advocate on the local, state, and national levels. In 2014, Ken was applauded at the national level for attaining the Grand Spike status, reaching 1,000 credits for membership recruitment and retention. He is the only Grand Spike in North Dakota and one of only a few in the nation. Ken and his wife Kay have 3 grown children, Christy, James, and Sam, and 3 grandsons, Orion, Caesar, and Jack. The Home Builders Association of Fargo-Moorhead and all its members congratulate you on your high achievements with the Cornerstone Award. We wish you all the best in retirement.
If you were to describe Ken Krajsa in one word, what would it be and why?
If there was one word to describe Ken, I would have to say that word would be cheap.
Frugal.
He's a cheapskate.
Ken's cheap.
Cheap, beep, beep.
Ken always bummed cigarettes.
And he, in fact, did eat my sandwich.
He's cheap.
Ken always wanted to have a cigarette, but he never had any. So Ken was notorious for bumming cigarettes, and I think to this day, Ken takes a lot of pride in the fact that he never bought a pack in his entire life.
So he actually went into a Lexus dealership banquet and posed as a Lexus dealer so he could get a free meal.
Ken is always eager to invite us out on his pontoon, but I kind of got to the point where, okay, Ken, you bring the pontoon, I'll bring the beer, because the cheaper the beer, the better Ken likes it.
So there was quite often he'd be calling us up and we'd be taking out construction loans, and he'd call us and tell us that we have time, we have to sit down and have lunch and sign loan docs. So he'd pick us up and we would take off and we'd be heading down west on 13th Avenue. I thought, well, where are we going? And here we'd pull in the parking lot at Sam's Club. And I said, Ken, I thought you're taking us out for lunch. And he said, well, yeah. I said, they have free samples today.
All of us that traveled with Ken that have been active with home builders to national events, it was always a joke. You're always worried about when you got back to town the next general membership meeting, Ken would probably pull a prank on you, like bringing out a pair of high heels or a pair of women's underwear or something and holding them up and say, oh, John, you left them in the room and I just wanted to bring these back to you.
He was napping one afternoon and started whimpering and stuff like that, and when he woke up he was like, wow, I'm glad I could outrun that werewolf.
People were throwing out ideas, how to make the HBA better, how to get more people involved. My comment was I would like to see Kentucky Fried Chicken served more often at the board meetings.
Ken brought Dan a live chicken.
Ken brings in this live chicken.
He brought a live chicken
to our board meeting.
To a board meeting.
Somebody let it out. Dan moved rather quickly that day when it jumped onto the back of his chair.
It just happened to basically fly up and landed on my shoulder, my chair, and just sat there.
he was always having fun, and it was always good-natured fun.
Some of my most memorable times with Ken would be our home builders golf outing. And whenever we'd hit the ball, Ken would hit a lot of them in the water. And you know, the next thing you do, he'd go up to his bag and pull out a snorkel and go in the water and look for his ball. And if he came up with 3, he was like a kid in the candy store.
The North Dakota Association of Builders took a ski trip to Whitefish, Montana, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And on that trip, we were taking the Amtrak. And in a small town in Montana, the train stopped. And the conductor had said to everybody to stay on the platform. Well, Ken, in his inimitable way, saw that there was cheap beer across the street at this little bar. Needless to say, the train took off without Ken and the kids. And so Ken panics, and he's asking the bartender, he said, well, what do I do? He said, there's probably no cabs in this town. Well, there was one cab. It was a minivan. And so luckily the minivan was available, the cabbie was available, and I think this has maybe happened before in this little town, but so the Amtrak follows the same road as the road that the cabbie was on. So we could see Ken, he was calling us, and we could see him going down the highway, but it was 90 miles to the next stop. So needless to say, Ken had a good cab fare for getting the... So everybody on the train was talking about this dad and what he'd done with his kids, and he was the talk of the whole train. So to kind of just show you how Ken would recover quick, he was sitting in the hot tub at the hotel a day or so after we got in there, and some ladies were in the hot tub, and they started talking about this guy and his kids that had gotten off the train, and Ken was saying, oh, that was really disgusting that he did that. And then somebody came up to him and said, Ken, you know, he got busted.
For many years, I've been traveling with Ken, and we've had some interesting trips.
Being a roommate with Ken is an adventure in itself.
Ken has always been really willing to share rooms.
Ken wanted to be my roommate.
I know one of his goals was to sleep with every HBA president.
He had a pretty good long streak going there.
Last year, Carlita Dietz was our first woman president.
I'm not sure how many presidents in a row that he's slept with. When Carlita was president, that got broken.
Ken is Ken. I mean, like I said, he's just been entertaining over the years.
We've known Ken for a long time. He's an amazing guy. A lot of fun. He's brought so much to the HBA.
Ken exemplifies what you would like an associate member to be.
It had not been for Ken, I don't know where Coatman Brothers would be at this point.
He became a very active member.
He carries himself well in all situations.
It takes people like that to make this association work the way it does.
Ken, it's been great working with you all these years, and I wish you the very best in the future.
Gonna miss you as far as retiring and as far as the Cornerstone. Very well deserved. I think Home Builders has been very fortunate to have him, and we're gonna miss him.
Good luck, Ken.